What up, Vibers? It's your boy Kai. Welcome to another episode of the Vibe with Kai podcast. Today, have an incredible guest for you. It's a pleasure to speak with my guy Nick Harrison, also known as Mr. Professor 318, with over 1.9 million followers on TikTok, 26 million likes. Nick's videos and comedic duets have taken the internet by storm. We're diving into what life is like as a top content creator and how it impacts his life. And Nick shares his journey, his mental health, and how social media influencers and content creators like us, how all of this affects our mental health, because it certainly does. And then we will offer some advice for other aspiring creators. Plus, we're going to talk a little WWE and a little Gilmore Girls. We're going to talk a little bit about all those things. Please welcome to the podcast my friend, Nick Harrison. What's up, man?
What's going on, Kai? It is a joy, a delight, a pleasure to be on with you today, man. I've been looking forward to this. We've talked about this for a good about 2 years, I think. That
it's been a minute.
Yeah,
it's been a minute.
I'm glad.
I'm really happy you're here, man. Because like watching you do your thing on these platforms, dude. It is. I mean, number one, just to see a creator in general see success, like a nice, genuine, kind person see success is like great. But to see like a Black content creator that is just killing it, like it honestly, it's inspirational to me, and I really appreciate what you do. So it's always like a pleasure to watch you do your stuff, man. How did all of this start for you? Was this a COVID thing for you? Like, how did this whole social media journey start for you?
Like a lot of creators that are in my situation, it all started during COVID. I was a teacher at the time, teaching elementary school, and we were at home. I was actually during that time I was doing an enrichment program. I was like one of the lone people who was allowed to come out of their house, so I was able to go to help like the children of frontline workers, doctors, nurses. Their enrichment while they were out of school, and they had a room set up to where we could teach our kids too, because we were doing like the virtual thing at the time, where our kids could sign into a Zoom and we could teach them. So during all of this, one of my teacher friends goes, "Hey, I think you should get on TikTok." And I was like, "No," because at that point, I had that January before we all got sent home, I had downloaded TikTok for like a day, and
it wasn't cool yet. It wasn't cool yet.
No, I deleted it immediately because it was still Musically. Like,
yes.
Like it was Musically. So it's like it's a bunch of kids dancing, like teenagers. I'm gonna get put on the watch list. Can't have it on my phone. This is dangerous. FBI will be knocking at my door.
They're like, "Sir, can I see your phone, please? I need to see your phone right now."
Excuse me, sir. You've been watching this? No, I have not been watching it. So. But then that happens. He's like, "No, there's some other stuff on there too. There's some comedy stuff." Because at the time, it was basically Tiger King and Kevin Hart sounds.
Right. Yes.
So she was like, No. It's some good stuff. You can check it out. It's like, okay, cool. So I get on it, and the following starts to grow, and then a couple hundred, then a couple thousand, then 10,000, 20, boom, boom, go more. Then I started doing teacher humor because that's what I was doing. I would stay late after school, working on my classroom, working on the next day's lesson. So while I was doing that, in between time, while there were no students in the room, I would do like wrestling entrances, and I would do music stuff, all this, and it just turned into a thing, and people really enjoyed it, and then it blew up, and now we do a lot of Gen X content, a lot of music content, and some comedy stuff, and wrestling, of course. So that's where we are now with all of the content, and I'm very happy and pleased with where it has grown to at this moment.
It's crazy how many, because I just interviewed BMO the Prince a couple weeks ago. Fantastic guy. I love Brian. And it's the same thing. Like we all started around the same time. And for me, like I was just bored. Like I was sitting in the house, and I'm like, and like a couple of friends of mine had downloaded TikTok, and I'm like, what? No, I'm not gonna no. And then next thing you know, I think one of my videos, like 100 people watched it, and I was like, I am a superstar. It was such a surreal thing, and then next thing you know, it just like kept going and going and going. Do you remember what your first like viral video was? Like, do you recall like what it was and how you felt after you saw it?
I don't know. Like it was my first viral video, the one to do like really, really well. There were two of them that I remember. I think that would be considered to be viral. One was if you do this, I'll do this. If you do this, I would do that. You do this, I'll do that. Is you don't want to do that was the end of it.
Right.
I think that was like the office sound of like Creed playing chess with somebody.
Yeah.
I think it was Jim. And telling them, if you do this, I'll do that. If you do this, I'll do that. And that was like a trending sound. So I do that. And the end was out. If you comment, I'll reply. So people were commenting on that video just to see if I would reply to their comment. So this was at a time where I still had a manageable number of like followers. So I was replying to every single person, and the engagement on that video put it to where it was like doing real good numbers. And then there was another one that I did, which was a sound from New Girl, which is one of my favorite television shows of all time.
Yeah.
And just say when. It's like this one. Like, but like girls were using it to talk about guys, you know what size.
Yeah.
I used to talk about my age, like asking my students what age they think I am. Like I had students who thought I was like 50 something because I was bald and had a gray beard. And I was in my 30s at the time. So it's
you're like, excuse me. Hold on.
Like, are you serious? Like, seriously? No, forget it. I'm sorry, bro. Like, stuff. And that one did really well too, because at the time, like lip sync stuff, and still today, lip sync stuff, you're like really crisp with it. It does really well. So that one did really well because the lip sync on it was like very good. Yeah. So those were two of the first ones that like really went well. And I'm like you, my first video was a Tiger King video. The whole Carol Baskin killed her acting. Yeah, I was on Carol's side. So it was like I got like 10,000 views on my first video just doing that. And I was like, okay, maybe I should keep this thing. So I didn't have a ton of early success, but I didn't know any better. So if it did like moderately well, I was like, oh, if I got 1,000 views, I was like, okay.
Right. It's so surreal to like have this like, I don't even want to call it fame, but to have like this, like the fact that people like just know who you are. Like there's a chance that you could go out to the store and somebody could walk up to you and be like, hey, I saw your video, you made me laugh the other day. Like just some random person that you've never met before. You know, like, do you get recognized out in public?
I do. I do. And it's because funny story, you're talking about Brian. He won Cheer Choice Awards with me a couple months. Like a bunch of big creators out there, and I was hanging out. Most of the time, I hung out with him and Slim Shady, and like people recognize who I am, but people know those two, especially Brian, they know exactly who he is. So it's funny because people recognize me, but then it's humbling because when you hang out with people like that, it's like, oh, okay, so they know them,
right?
Like,
they famous.
They famous. Like him and Sherry are like famous. But it's like I get stopped on a regular basis with people like, especially when I wear the merch. They're like, "Are you?" Like, yeah.
I was just saying that to Brian, like, cause I was saying how one thing that I find hilarious is when you could see that somebody recognizes you, but they're not sure from where, so they're just kind of like. They're just looking and like pointing, and I guess they forget that we also have eyeballs. So like I can see you struggling. I can see you struggling. You're like, I know that black guy from somewhere. I know him from somewhere.
So we were out at dinner. Like this was last year. We're out at dinner. My wife and I. Shout out to my wife. I know she's watching.
Hi, wifey.
Hey, wife. Hey, Lisa. So we're out at dinner, and I get a message on my Facebook page, my professional Facebook page. I hope you're enjoying your dinner. But wait, what? Wait, hold on. Wait a minute. What's going on? So somebody in the restaurant, they recognize who I am. They message the Facebook. They don't come up and speak. They don't say anything. They just message me on Facebook and say, I hope you're enjoying your dinner.
Is that all they said?
That's just about it. Hope you're enjoying your dinner. Didn't know you were from this area. Enjoy your videos, all this stuff. But the first line was, I hope you're enjoying your dinner.
That would make me feel some sort of way.
named the specific restaurant and everything. Later that night, we go to the back to go watch the live music, and there's a lady who's sitting in the bar area, and she sees me, and she's like looking at her phone and talking to her husband, looking at her phone, talking to her husband, and she's like, "Is this you?" And I said, "No, it's not. He looks like a nice guy, but that is not." And she was like, she didn't know how to process that. She's like, but you and the bit, are you sure? And my wife's like, he's messing with you. Yes, that's him. Like, oh my God. And then a guy pops up behind us. He's like, oh my God, I knew it was you. I knew it.
That's so funny.
I was like, oh man. But then we're at dinner like a couple weeks ago, and the guy who messaged me on Facebook ends up sitting right next to us at the restaurant. This is a different restaurant. He's like, hey man, I'm the one who sent you that message. Like, oh my God, that is a low-level mystery that's been driving me insane for a year.
Wow.
You could have come up and spoke to me. Why did you?
Well, you can't just say, because like here's the thing. If somebody were to send me a message while I'm out and it says, I hope you're enjoying your dinner, the next line that I'm expecting to see is, it'd be a shame if something happened to it. Like, it'd be a shame if you, surely would be a shame if it tasted a little weird, Kai. Like,
it's like, oh my God. What?
Mighty nice mozzarella stick you got there. Would be a shame. Would be a shame if it hurt your stomach. It's so it's fun. See, what's funny is that like, so I get recognized in public, but most of the time they think I'm Darius Rucker. So because I'm black with a 5 o'clock shadow and a baseball cap. Yeah. So like there was this one time
I get more.
There's worse people. Like he's a handsome gentleman, rich, like talented. Like that's fine. But what's funny, I walked into this bar one time, and there was a live band playing, and they thought that I was Darius Rucker, so they started playing Wagon Wheel. So wow. Rock me, I like Wagon Wheel. Right now, here's the thing. People were like, go up and start singing with them, right? Oh. And like I was like, I would. But here's the thing, I don't know the word. I don't know the words to that song. I don't know the words. So I would be like, hello guys, I'm Darius Rucker. I wrote the song that you're about to say. I don't know the words to it. So
wow.
So like, but I'll take Darius Rucker because like maybe I can get like a free dinner out of it or something like that. But one of the things that I admire about you is like, even though 4 years technically isn't that long of a time, in TikTok years, that's a long time.
Yeah.
Because I'm pretty sure you've seen this as well. Creators come and go. You know, there are people that hit a high point and they just disappear. There's people that have been working so hard, and it's like, how is this person not like at a million yet? Like that kind of stuff.
Right.
But one of the things I admire about you and a couple others is that you're able to adjust to the time, right? Because the things that worked for us back in the day probably won't work now, right? We're able to adjust our content. How conscious are you of that type of thing when you're making your content? Like, how conscious are you of the fact that you have to continue to stay up to date on what is popular and what isn't popular?
I will put it in terms that you will probably understand because you're a wrestling fan. For those who know, Kai and I are both big wrestling fans.
Oh yeah.
You know how in wrestling the fans will make you baby. If you're a heel, the fans will make you baby. The fans will let you know when it's time to switch it up.
Yes.
They will let you know. Like I did that whole trend of you can't summon the generation just by singing a song. I knew when it was time to switch from that because I did like 20 videos with that intro, and then there were people who were like, "Okay,
we get it."
I was like, "Okay, time to do something else," and I started doing something else.
Yeah.
If you stay on top of what's on the FYP, if you stay on top of the trends, especially now with the feature on TikTok Creator Search Insights, see what's trending and what's hot right now. You can look at that stuff and say, okay, I can start doing content that's related to this, and that will kind of, freshen things up a little bit because it's at one point, if you look at where the apps are moving, if you look at where the content is moving, then you can see what needs to be done in order to kind of switch it up and do something different. Thankfully for me, it was the stuff that I do is kind of malleable. to where I can mold what I do to fit other trends.
Yes.
Because that's what I used to do with like the wrestling stuff. The wrestling content, if it wasn't an entrance, it was like a trending sound.
Right.
But I fit it to something wrestling related. So it's like if you can take the trends, you can still do the trends, you can still do the stuff that's hot. Just do it to where it fits what you do, it fits your brand, it fits your content, and then it helps you to move forward what you do with still be able to stay true to who you are,
exactly,
and what you love.
Yes,
you know,
you have to find joy in all of this. That's one thing I say to people that ask me for advice sometimes about being a content creator, is that no matter what's popular, no matter what's trending, if you're not enjoying what you're doing, then don't do it. Like really, don't do it because it's going to become more of a burden than anything else. And like, I don't want this to be a burden. The content that I make is stuff that I enjoy. And you're right. You have to be ready to shift. Like, I used to make Gilmore Girls content every day for 6, 7, 8 months. And it worked really, really well for me. Right. But then like you said, you listen to the crowd, you start to, like see what works, what doesn't work. And you have to be ready to make that transition into something else. And so I see a lot of creators not doing that. And then they'll blame the platform for suppressing them. And I'm like, I don't know about that. Like, I don't know if this is the platform's fault. You've been doing the same content for 2 years. I don't know.
Always the shadow ban, man. You ain't been shadow banned for 2 years. That's not what it is. People blame shadow ban so quick. Say, "Oh, I'm shadow ban. That's why I'm getting these views." No,
this is an unpopular opinion, and I don't say this often publicly. I think that I hate the word shadow ban. I hate it. I'm not a big fan of it because I feel like it's an excuse that creators use sometimes to excuse poor content. That's not a popular opinion. And I know that people would give me shit for it, but like, to me, like, because I work in marketing, right? So like, if I create a marketing campaign and that marketing campaign does really, really well in the month of April, right? And then I do it again in May and it doesn't do well. Whose fault is that? It's not really anybody's fault. It's just a different time. It's a different, thing. There's things that I have to take into consideration when creating a new campaign. It's the same thing with content. If you don't adjust, then you're not going to succeed. Now, that's not to say that there aren't disadvantages, especially for Black creators, because there are definitely disadvantages, I believe, that we have, especially with Black creators creating content that other creators, non-Black creators, will end up taking and making even more popular. I do think that's a thing, but the platform itself suppressing suppressing content, I don't think that's a thing. But that's an unpopular opinion.
I agree with you that it's used as a crutch a lot of times. I think there is such a thing as shadow ban. I don't think it's not. I don't think it's non-existent.
Sure.
I also believe that you can work through that kind of stuff.
Yes,
and most of the time you'll see, like creators who have consistent content or are posting consistently and their numbers are consistent. It never is, and they, like, I look at some creators who have the same kind of content that I do, and it's usually how the algorithm on TikTok, more than any other app, is an ebb and flow type thing.
Yes, it
is. It's very volatile.
Yes, it is.
So something that worked yesterday may not work tomorrow. It may not work in an hour. Like, it's just, things change really quickly with this app, with the TikTok app. With Instagram, it's a little different because if you can find a steady audience, then your numbers will be the same. I've been able to like grow super exponentially over the past year on Instagram, to where we're almost at 900,000 followers.
Hell yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Flex, man, flex.
I say that because it's like it went, like, my account was at like 30, 40,000 around this time last year, and now it's at almost 9, and it's like nothing really changed except for the consistency with which I was posting on Instagram, because I did
consistency and patience.
Yeah, it's consistency. So with TikTok, you got to be consistent with what you do. You need to make sure that you're posting consistently. That doesn't mean post like 15 times a day.
Right.
But if you post once or twice a day, maybe once every 2 days, then depending on where your numbers are, then it should be fine. But it's like blaming shadow ban every time your video does low numbers is just a bad look.
Right. You're one of the most popular creators on the platform, but that's just a fact. So I don't want you to sit here and be like, oh, let me know. That's a fact, sir. You're and so do you ever feel pressure? Like, do you ever feel as though you have this certain, I guess, threshold that you have to hit for your audience? Do you feel a pressure to just always deliver?
No, I don't feel a pressure to always deliver. I feel, I put myself to the task to, be consistent with the quality of content that I put out. But I don't feel pressure I don't feel pressure to perform, feel pressure to, deliver for my audience, because at the end of the day, and this is the advice that I always give creators who ask, well, how did you do this or how did you do that? Your people are going to find you. Like, there are different sections of TikTok for everything. There's book talk, there's laundry talk where people just sit there and watch people fold laundry. There's bread talk.
You're not even exaggerating. That is a real thing.
Real things on TikTok. TikTok has so many different sections that you've never even seen before
or even thought of.
Yeah.
Like, do you know what section of TikTok I'm on right now? And this is incredible. So since it was just Memorial Day, a lot of people took their boats out to lakes and to the water. I'm on boat talk, but a very specific type of boat talk, not just regular boat talk. I'm on failed docking boat talk. This is videos of failed attempts to get. It's so good. It's all about people failing to get their boat in or out of the water. I am on that side of TikTok right now, and I'm loving every freaking second of it.
It's huge. Like, these sections of TikTok that you would think would be minute are gigantic. Like, millions of people dock their boats correctly, and they're all it's a real thing. Like, it's a real thing. Like, I was talking to one of my family members the other day, and it blew their mind that there's an actual jail talk of people who are in jail with creating videos about how to make toilet wine, how to make a proper live. Like, this is all real stuff. Like, it's all real. So it's like, if they can find an audience, so can you.
Absolutely.
They can find an audience, so can you. So it's like, I don't feel pressure because I feel like my people are going to find my stuff. I posted a video a couple weeks ago. I was like, all I need is one. Just one person who's gonna watch, one person who is affected, one person who feels something, an emotion that comes from them watching a video, and I've done my job. So
exactly,
I don't feel pressure. Because it's something that I love. TikTok, and what is TikTok? TikTok and social media have become my literal job. Like, I retired teaching 2 years ago. This is what I do. And it doesn't feel like a job. It has never felt like a job. It does not feel like a job now. It is a joy every day to share my love of music and culture and just comedy every day. So it's like, I'm finding new ways to create content. I'm going out when I'm at events. I'm making content there. Getting to make content with some really cool and fascinating people, like big time bands. And
I was gonna ask, because that's one of the cool things about being a content creator. Like, I know for me, I've gotten to meet and chat with people that I'm like, you're famous. Like I had a full conversation not too long ago with Donnie Wahlberg. Donnie freaking Wahlberg. Like, he knows who I am. We talked. We had a conversation. I'm like, that is Donnie freaking Wahlberg. Like, he knows who I am. He and his wife follow me. Like, this is so weird.
See, you're lucky because Jenny doesn't follow me, but Donnie does. I did the dance to that new song, Kids. They all share this to their social media, except for because Jordan doesn't have any socials. But they all share this to their socials. It's like this video that New Kids has shared of mine. And I love it. I want you to come out to one of our shows. So we're going to the show this summer.
Amazing.
The amount, because I don't usually talk about it because you were talking about flex. I don't like to say that I'm bragging or
I'm
flex.
with you. Yeah,
So
I'm with
I don't
you.
talk about it a lot, but like in the last couple weeks and months, like just from the wrestling side, you got Adam Pearce, who's the general manager of Monday Night Raw.
Yeah.
Just started following.
Who's doing a great job, by the way. I think both him and what's his face on SmackDown, not to
Nick
get
Aldis.
sidetracked, Nick Aldis. I think they're both doing a fantastic job as GMs.
Both fantastic. Ludwig Kaiser just started following me.
Good win yesterday for him.
Yeah, fantastic. He's great. He's great. I love him. Randy Orton had followed on Twitter like a while back. Mick Foley had followed before. I got the chance to a couple weeks. Like that's like you're saying. I was like, I got to make content with Mick Foley.
Yeah,
like in May. Do you understand as a wrestling fan, as a guy who's in his like early
legend?
40s, like he is a legend to me.
Legend.
He was the nicest person ever. I talked like Donnie Wahlberg. Follows Chris Daughtry. Jack Black just started following a couple weeks ago. Which
amazing.
blew my mind because I was in a Tenacious D cover band when I was in college. So like
that doesn't surprise me at all. I don't know like what
it never faced anybody. They're like, oh yeah, okay. I
sounds about right.
Sure, why not? Yep. Absolutely. When they think of a band, I get it. Sure, why not? That's the kind of stuff where it's like what is it? I just realized that Lexi Gray from Grey's Anatomy, followed me on Instagram.
Amazing.
I didn't realize who it was. She was always like in my
comments.
Like this person follows you, and I was like, I don't know who this is. They got 1.7 million followers. Why?
Yeah.
And I look her up, and she's like, oh my god, my wife watches Grey's Anatomy all the time, so I know exactly who that is. So it's like this kind of stuff is surreal to me because again, I got on TikTok on a whim.
Yes,
I'm on Instagram because I post on Instagram because the stuff that I post on Instagram mostly comes from TikTok. Right. So it's like this being verified is so dumb to me. I am not a person of notoriety. It's ridiculous. But then, like, you have all these articles written because Jonathan Davis from Korn shared one of my videos to his story. They make all these articles, and then they go over to Brazil, and these Brazilian publications are like, "Oh, we love you. You need to come over here, chill out in the favelas." I'm like, "Okay, cool. Why not?"
If all of this is a very humbling experience, 100%. And like, I'm with you. I don't like to flex or anything like that. I feel honestly, I know you feel the same way. I feel as though I'm like the luckiest guy on the planet.
Right.
Like, cause like I got on this, I'm more of like an Instagrammer than a TikToker, but like still it's the same thing where like it doesn't have to be this way. Like I don't take it for granted. It's a very humbling experience. I thank my audience any chance that I get anytime I get a chance to thank them, I do, because I would be nowhere without them. I'm very humbled. It's very easy to stay down to earth, believe it or not, for me with all of this, because I have like this imposter syndrome sometimes. I don't know if you ever feel that way.
Yes, 100%. It's like feeling that you're building the plane while you're flying.
Yeah.
That's what I always say. I feel like I'm building the plane while I'm flying it, because it's like I feel as though there's no reason why I should have the amount of followers that I do. Some of the followers that I have, I don't know why I have them. I don't understand why all this notoriety comes to me, but I'm blessed and I'm blessed and highly favored. I'm a believer, so I'm very thankful to my higher power for what he has done for me and my family in order to be able to provide. Me making silly videos on the internet. And my wife, I have to give her credit because she humbles me real quick, because she'll let me know. She's like, "Yeah, so what? Like, whatever. Calm down. You're okay." Like, she's a very humbling character in her own right, to where we'll go out to places, or we'll go to like wrestling shows, and I'll be ready to meet like somebody well known. And she'll be like, "Yeah, I have no idea who that is. Why are you so excited?" Like, it's okay. And I mean, they're just people. It's okay. So
Yeah.
I'm very blessed to have her and my kids, and but it's still surreal. And we talk all the time about how I hope it never goes away. Hope the surrealness of it never goes away.
Right,
Because
right.
if I'm walking into a room and I'm like, yeah, I'm here. What's going on?
Right.
That's when it's time to just stop.
Right.
I've got
Exactly.
my britches, but
What
I don't ever happen.
what is it like for the people that knew you before all of this? Like what kind of messages do you get from like friends and family that knew you before all of the TikTok stuff happened? Like what kind of messages do you get from them as they see you rise on these platforms?
They're all jerks. They're the worst people ever. It's like, so you think you're better than me? No, I don't think I'm better.
I get that. I'll go like sometimes they'll be like, "Okay, Mr. Famous." Like, no,
Yeah.
no.
So I have on my personal Facebook, I really rarely share anything,
Same.
because it's like I don't want people to think that I'm like bragging or flexing
Yeah.
or anything like that, but also because I know my friends like, yeah, so don't forget us little people. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, shut up. So it's like, and whenever I talk about somebody that I know that's like well known, I feel like a jerk because it makes me feel like I'm bragging when I'm really not. I'm just talking about what happened. So when we were out in Vegas with Brian, we got the chance to hang out with Edwin McCain because Edwin has followed for a while, and we've gotten to know each other through social media, and he was playing the event that we were at.
Yeah.
So we got the chance to hang out with him backstage and make content, and he told all these stories, and he's super funny and one of the best people in the world. A friend of mine, a couple friends of mine, my boy and his wife. His wife has a tattoo of Edwin McCain's song lyric on her arm. So I saw her over Memorial Day weekend, and she would not leave me alone. like, oh, so you got the chance to meet Edwin, huh?
Oh my God.
Better than me, blah 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 blah. Oh, well, just tell your friend Edwin McCain, and like, he is my friend, but come on, man, like, don't do that. Come on, like, that's my boy. Don't your boy is Edwin McCain. Stop.
You want to talk about people humbling you? Like definitely friends and family, 100% will keep you humble.
Your homeboys are always gonna make you just feel like the worst. Like that's how I stay humble. I just if I want to get humble, I just text my boys like, yeah. So this just happened. So what? We don't care.
Right. Exactly.
Remember that time you wet your pants while we were at the bar? Hey, you talking about that? Hey, we don't know stuff. That's not even something we talked about. Like, leave that alone.
Why'd you have to bring that up? Why did you have to bring that up? What are you doing then?
Don't post the picture. Stop. Don't do me like that. I'm just a dude, man. Come on, do that.
That's funny. It really is surreal to like go through all of this, and it truly is a blessing. And like I said, I don't take it for granted. And so what I want to do, I want to talk about two things specifically. I want to talk about, is that balloons in my background?
That is balloons. Is it your birthday?
No, I don't know how that happened. That was interesting. I don't know how that happened. I'll take it. I'll take it. Balloons. I want to talk wrestling, and I want to talk Gilmore Girls. I want to start with wrestling first. I want to get your thoughts on some wrestling stuff. Sure. WWE, how do you feel so far about the Paul Levesque era?
You mean the Logan Paul Levesque era?
Yes, the Logan Paul Levesque era.
I love that, by the way. I think that's
I think he's a great athlete. I'm enjoying. Yeah,
I think he's and the guys will say it on TV, and it's true when they say he's way better than he has any right to be. Like, he picked this up like 2-3 years ago. Yes. And now he's one of the he's the US champ. He's one of the
better guys. Exciting. He's exciting.
Yeah.
And I have yet to see a match where I didn't enjoy his work.
100%. Like, he's great. So it's like, I love what they're doing. I love how they're building up some of the guys who got kind of left by the wayside a couple years ago. I love the foundation that they're building. I think that the storylines are really good. I think the way that they're using social media, especially like individual wrestlers like
Yes.
Drew McIntyre, the way that he's been using
Yes.
social media in order to like torture CM Punk, and
Mhm.
like for all of us to see, it's really like I think they're really you want to talk about people who adjust to the times. You know, they like every other year WWE is adjusting to like social media and the times. Remember Tout?
Yes.
Remember when they had
Yeah.
Tout? Remember
Yeah.
Tout? The
Mhm.
second screen experience years ago, that was to me like one of the most forward thinking things that anybody could do with
Yeah.
technology. And now you have what they're doing with social media and
Oh
with
yeah, like having the speed
oh,
championship on X and like all this
yeah,
stuff.
like
Yeah.
all
Mhm.
of that stuff is just it's ingenious, and I love what they're doing with that. I love what they're doing with NXT and what Shawn
Yes.
Michaels is doing down there, and
Mhm.
I
There's
love
some great talent down there, and what I really love about what they're doing is that there's little small nuances that I think were never done in the past. Like even like little things in the background that have nothing to do with what's happening in the foreground, but then
yeah,
you'll see Liv Morgan and Dominic Mysterio just getting
right,
out of a car in the background, like little things like that. That if
right,
you're not paying attention, like you would never see it. But the signs were there, like everything that's happening with Uncle Howdy, with him coming, like it's just like they're taking the time to tell. Well, I guess pun intended, to tell the story,
yeah,
about all of this. And speaking of telling the story, obviously Cody Rhodes finished his story at
right,
WrestleMania, which was in my town, Philadelphia. It was a great time to be a Philadelphia guy, I'll tell you that.
yeah.
He finished the story. He's now champ. What are your thoughts on his run so far?
Uh, I think it's good for where it is right now. I
Mm.
think they're missing Roman. I think Roman added a
Yeah.
lot to especially SmackDown.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think the Bloodline storyline is hitting as well as they would want it to. I'm
Yeah.
a big fan of Gorillas of Destruction, Tongaloa and
Yeah.
Tama. I think they're very, very good, and I can't wait to see what they do with them, especially as a
Mm-hmm.
tag team. I can't wait to see what they do with the Bloodline storyline. But as far
Right.
as Cody's title run, I think he's doing well. He hasn't put on a bad match for the title yet. His match with
Mm-hmm.
AJ was great. His match with Logan was great.
Mm-hmm.
His next match with AJ, I think, is going to be really good.
Yeah.
So
Are they gonna fight at Clash at the castle? Is
they
that
should.
yeah.
I think that's what they're going to do. They should. So
Yeah.
it's like I think that what he's doing with his title run right now is good.
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking forward to see what he does in the going forward with it,
Right.
because I want to
Right.
see what's coming up next. Because like Money in the Bank and SummerSlam, especially with
Yeah.
I'll actually be at SummerSlam in Cleveland in
Nice.
August, so I'm very
Mm-hmm.
excited for that. So it's like I'm excited to see what happens in the future
Mm-hmm.
with Cody in the WWE Championship. But right
Yeah.
now, I think it's fine. Nothing to
Yeah. I
like.
think I think
Fine.
I think it's obviously AJ Styles is not going to win the title. But I feel like right now they're in that in between phase before he goes into like his next big story. Which my prediction, I think that Roman will make a return sooner than we think, and that it'll be Cody Roman at SummerSlam. That is my guess.
That would be. I think that'd be cool. I'd
Mm-hmm.
look forward to seeing that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it's gonna be Roman. It
Mm-hmm.
would be like they want like big money
They have
matches.
to get some. They have to get somebody
Yeah, but I
like
mean,
of
who
notoriety.
on SmackDown? Who else on SmackDown would it be? At this point, right?
LA Knight, but they're two baby faces. Like they're
I mean,
like
I don't even think it would be LA Knight. It's
well,
hard.
yeah. I mean, it's probably gonna be him and
Maybe
Logan
Randy,
Paul.
maybe Randy, but
Yeah,
Randy with the story. I mean, even though it's two baby faces, it's still Randy, and
yeah.
Randy. They know Randy will beat up anybody. Like
Right,
no
right,
matter if he's heel face, he'll fight you. So
right.
it's more of a thing of you got the storyline with like Legacy and
Mm-hmm.
his relationship with Randy and all of that. So it's like I think that would be a big money fight. I think that Randy would be an excellent challenger for Cody. I think they'd have
Mm-hmm.
a fantastic match, and I think it would sell tickets. And
Right,
that
right.
nature of the business is to sell tickets, and Cody versus Randy,
that would sell.
Slam, I think that would sell.
That would sell. It wouldn't be a wrestling conversation if we didn't bring up AEW as well. What are your thoughts on how AEW is doing? I know they've been taking a lot of slack recently, especially with ticket sales and the arguing about the quality of the stories being told. I don't think there's an issue with the matches themselves, because I think the matches are good, like really good.
Yeah.
But it seems as though to me that AEW is still missing something, even though they have a great roster. I feel like something's still missing. What are your thoughts on AEW right now?
I think that AEW is really good where they are.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like anybody that would expect them to be WWE or be more like WWE is really missing the point.
Yes.
Part of why AEW was created in the first place, so they could be an alternative, so they could, for those who don't want like storytelling, like long-term booking in the, in the way that WWE does it, and like just wants to watch really good professional wrestling.
Really, really good wrestling. Yeah.
So and that's really what AEW is. Not to say that WWE doesn't have really good wrestling, because they do. But with AEW, you get your Will Ospreays, and your Daniel Garcias. Who I'm a big fan of Daniel Garcia. I think he's fantastic. And your Eddie Kingstons. I'm a big Eddie Kingston guy. And of course, Daniel Bryan. Daniel Bryan, Bryan Danielson.
Bryan Danielson, yes. Yeah. Yeah.
So you have your guys who you really are just fantastic wrestlers that can really grind and get down in the ring. And you have your storytellers, your talkers, your MJFs, your Adam Coles.
Right.
Really good at what they do, but they're still very good in the ring too. So it's like, I think AEW is good. I think it's really good, and I think they have room for growth, of course. But I mean, there are going to be those who look down on it because it's not this or it's not that.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of tribalism when it comes to that. I think it's fair to like both brands and enjoy it without crapping on the other. I do think that AEW needs to stop talking about and worrying about WWE though. I think that's where part of it, like, because they mention it all. Like Tony Khan does mention WWE a lot. Like it's like they do mention it on broadcast even sometimes. Even most recently MJF, when he came back for his thing, he brought on Vince McMahon. Like it was just like let it go. I think that's also part of the problem.
It's hard to do that. When you have so many guys that used to be in WWE. Like you had just a ton of guys who worked, even if it was for a cup of coffee, they were there.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's hard to kind of gloss over that fact, especially when your commentators are majoritively former WWE or WCW guys. So it's like, I get that people are tired of them talking about it, but I understand why they would, and, reasoning for, like, I even understand the reasoning for releasing the videotape. From All In,
from CM Punk,
I get it why they did it, and it's like, and you can't tell me that they would do that without at least him saying, "I don't care,"
right?
Not necessarily signing off on it, but being more like, "Really doesn't matter to me what you do, because it doesn't affect what I'm doing right now anyway." So it's like it's all good, and I think AEW is good, and they will grow and continue to grow and get better, and as a company, it just takes time, especially when you're a company started from the ground up. It takes a lot of time to get like traction and to like grow to the point that you want to. So AEW still got a lot of time before you look at it and say, okay, was this a success or was it not?
Right.
So at this point, it is.
And to segue into something completely different, we'll see how people. So like either people were like, okay, I'm going to skip 10 minutes and get to the Gilmore Girls part, or they're both Gilmore Girls fans and WWE fans. Like that would be very unique. Gilmore Girls, you and your wife are Gilmore Girls fans. I gotta ask you, I need to know what team you like. Are you team Jess? Are you team Logan? Are you team oh my god, what's his name? Dean. Team Dean, team Jess, or team Logan?
Logan. Team Logan.
Team Logan. Interesting. Why?
100%. Are you kidding me?
Why?
Now, okay. First of all, I think that I hated Dean and Jess. Both of them. I could not stand it. Matter of fact, I almost didn't watch This Is Us because I dislike Jess so much. I was that far. Like,
that's funny.
But to me, I was Team Logan because I'm not really a big fan of the girl. Like,
Wait, it's funny you say that because that is something that I talk about a lot. I think that, and this is, I'm going to die on this hill. I think that she is the antagonist of the show. I think that Rory Gilmore is the antagonist of Gilmore Girls. Yes, I said it.
Watch this. I cannot wait to watch this because look. I'm so glad that somebody's on my team with this. Let me explain something. So I was not a big guy on like big Gilmore Girls guy. My wife was in the middle of one of her rewatches.
Yeah.
And I started watching the show and I was like, wow, okay. And I started watching some of the episodes. She's like, okay, we need to start over from the beginning if you're really gonna watch so that you can get some of the stuff that's going on. So I started watching from the beginning and I disliked Dean from the start because I thought that he was like kind of possessive and intimidated by Rory. And Jess, like Rory messed that up, but I was like, Jess did a bunch of dumb stuff too. And he jeopardized that whole relationship. And then Logan comes along. And it's like, okay, Ace, I see what you're doing here.
Interesting. Okay.
I like his personality. He reminded me of some of the guys that I knew in college, which might be a good or bad thing depending on. But I mean, I kind of got his vibe. Right. And then when he started dating Rory, I was like, okay, this is the perfect guy for Rory. Like, that's why I was Team Logan. Because I was like, because of who she is and the way that she behaves.
That's hilarious.
Logan is perfect for her. So now that I'm talking to you, I might need to go back and do a rewatch of my own to see whether or not I dislike Dean and Jess because of who they were or because
it's Rory.
Because of Rory. Because it may have been Rory that just ruined me on both of those guys. Like, for real.
I'm with you. And like I like a lot of time like I mean I watched it as a 35-year-old black man. I know I'm not the demographic, right? So I know I'm not the demographic. Like I know that, but like I always say to people, Rory's like as I'm watching it, I'm like Rory is not a good person.
She's the worst.
She's not a good person.
Oh, she's the worst.
Like, and that's like Alexis Bledel, the actress, great actress. Love her. Love Alexis Bledel.
Alexis, she's great.
Yes.
And I love Lauren. Lauren is great too. I love love Lauren.
Yeah.
Freaking Rory Gilmore is the worst. The worst. Like when she was living in the pool house for like that entire season of the show, I was like, you're a brat. Take your butt back home. Why are you because of a grudge that you got against your mom? Go back to the house. What
they didn't talk. They like were not talking to each other.
They were talking to each other. What even called her on the phone? And when she was talking to her, she was being cold. I almost cut. She was being cold.
I listen. I'm right. I'm right there with you. I will say though, while watching it, if I had to choose my ideal person to marry, I would choose a Lorelai. Lorelai to me is like the epitome of like, cause she's funny, she's goofy, she's like independent and like a go-getter. She can DIY anything. Lorelai Gilmore is just to me perfection.
I believe that Lorelai was fantastic and she's quite the looker. And like I don't know if she's to me. I don't know if Lorelai was like legit marriage material because she was so flaky. She's a flake.
You have a point.
Flake because she did it to Christopher.
She did
it to Luke like twice, like multiple times to Luke. So it's like when I watched the movie. Like the continuation of
a year in the life.
Yeah, when they did a year in the life, and I watched that because I watched that like right after the first season. The first time I watched it all the way through. I went directly to A Day in the Life.
Okay.
And for some reason, I mean, even watching that, I was still Team Logan. Even watching that, because I'm like, Logan, you can okay, but again, that was on Rory. Rory had the choice the whole time, and she continued to do what she was doing. That wasn't on him. That was on her. So that's that. Two, Lorelai, even in A Day in the Life, was still like kind of stringing Luke along a little bit.
That's true.
So it's like I don't know if she was really marriage material. Now, Melissa McCarthy, I'd have married
Suki.
Suki. I would marry Suki immediately because
she's great,
funny, charming, she's cute. I mean, when she's easy on the eyes. You know what I'm saying?
I'm right there with you. When she's in the kitchen with the bandana, telling people what to do, cooking, and like, I'm like, what do you need? What do you need? I got you.
Yeah, she cooked. So I'm like, I'm all about Suki. I was all about Suki. So it's like, but Lorelai to me was just so flaky, and she would aggravate me too. But to me, like I was always aggravated with Rory. But if you're not a big Rory fan, then there are going to be some parts of Lorelai that really upset you.
That's true.
And for me, there were some parts of her that really upset me because she, much like Rory, was like, I want what I want, and I'm going to have what I want. And even if I have to talk to you a certain way in order to get it, because Lorelai was a manipulator, like legit.
Ooh, you're coming out guns blazing today. You're coming out guns blazing.
There's gonna be a lot of people who watch your podcast who probably gonna find me on Instagram and be like, "Look, buddy, you're not gonna talk about Lorelai Gilmore like this." But I mean it she was a manipulator in the nicest possible way, if that could actually be a thing, because she would always get her way. Like even with Paul Anka, she would always get her way.
That's true. And if you think about it, like she, from the jump, let's not forget how this whole show started off. It started off because she wanted to send Rory to a school that she couldn't afford. And so she asked her parents for money to send the kid to school. And what did they ask for in return? They asked for one thing. They said, we want to have dinner with you once a week, every Friday or something like that. Right? That's it.
Didn't want to do that.
She barely wanted to do that.
She didn't want to do that. Find any way out of doing that she could when she agreed to it. She didn't want to do that. But that goes all the way back to Emily, though. Like, if we going to talk about the master. So
I'm hearing that it runs in the family. That's what I'm hearing.
Look, bro, if it walks like a duck, more than likely, Mother Duck was the one that passed it on. Let's be real about it. Like this, you can see the trend, and I think that was one of the things that Lorelai hated about herself more than anything, is that she saw a lot of her in Emily.
Yes.
So whenever she was around Emily, like they would always butt heads because they were so similar. And Rory tried to kind of buck that at times because she kind of walked her own path and did her own thing. But it was, because Lorelai was more the free spirit, and at times Rory seemed like more the adult than Lorelai did. Like she was the one who would take the lead. So it's like I didn't like the whole thing with Rory for me. And we talk about this more than we talk about wrestling. I'm so ashamed of myself.
No, listen, there's no shame. No shame.
The whole thing about Rory for me that kind of upset me was for her to be the more mature one, she had her real immature tendencies because we forget at times that she was a child.
Yes.
We forget that she was a child because of who her mother was and how she would kind of have to be the adult in some situations. And she was treated like such an adult because it was almost like they were peers.
Yeah.
But whenever Lorelai would have to be the mother, there would be complications that would come about between the two of them. So it's like it's a fascinating show, and it's way deeper than anybody would really give them credit for, because I will
agree with that.
It's it's like they shun it because it's Gilmore Girls. Like, it's the
Right.
Gilmore Girls. What are we talking about? But when you really dive into the complexities of like the American family and the dynamic that she had and like being a single mother and like dating her child and the relationship that she had with the father of her child and how that was kind of off again, on again, and how even though they were not together, they always had love for each other, and how that interfered in relationships that they had with each other. And that, you know, if you are a single parent and you watch this show and you have that kind of, you look at that and you can relate because you deal with some of those same issues and problems. So it's like, it was a very relatable show. And I think that what it sounds like is it's time for another rewatch.
I think that's what I'm hearing, and you know, we should rewatch it together. I think people would enjoy watching us give our insight.
Look, bud,
Could you imagine?
Two like men. You are thoughts on Gilmore Girls. I think
listen,
with the Siskel and Ebert of CW.
Gilmore, I'll take it.
Let's do it.
Oh my God, Nick, you're the man. Like, honestly, like I appreciate you, bro. Like again, like watching you like rise up and do your thing and make people laugh and make people feel heard and cared for and validated and creating this relevant and relatable material. It's such a joy, honestly, to watch you do your thing. And it's inspiring to me. I know it's inspiring to other creators as well. You're doing your thing, man. I just, like, honestly, thank you for taking time to like sit and chat with me about all my nerdy stuff, whether it be content creation, wrestling, Gilmore Girls, all of that, man. I appreciate it, bro.
My man, I appreciate you having me. It has truly been a joy. It's like talking to an old friend. And
yeah, man.
What it's absolutely supposed to be. Greatly appreciated. You know, I always end my live broadcast or any like podcast I do with if nobody's told you today you are loved, you're appreciated, you're important, you're more than enough exactly as you are, and always remember to be great. And I do that because there are a lot of people on social media for connection.
Yes.
Because they're looking for somebody that they can relate to, that they can connect to. So that's, you know, why why I believe a lot of my content resonates with people, because it's very relatable. You know, we all have that favorite song that we haven't heard in a while. We all have that movie that we love. It's you know, it's all about connect, especially people who are around our age. You know, your Gen X, your millennials, late 30s, early 40s, mid 40s, early 50s. That, you know, we all fit in the same category when we talk about pop culture and music and that kind of thing. So it's like, that's why I love what I do, and that's why it humbles me and it brings me great joy to be able to connect people that way. So I'm very thankful for the opportunity to, you know, talk to you about a lot of the stuff that I love, because there's not a lot of people, especially from our culture, that love that, you know, that certain, like, you know, Daniel Tosh had this joke where he's like, you know, his jokes go all the way down to, like, you know, there's one guy in the audience that's laughing, and that's what my joke too. That all pairs down. It's like that one of those two people that actually get the entire thing of what I was saying. So when you talk about like wrestling, Gilmore Girls, social media creation, there's not a lot of people who are in that realm, especially when you're, you know, African American and male. So it's like it has been a joy to be able to talk about this stuff with somebody who truly gets it. And thank you for what you do. You're always on my FYP. You're always popping up on my socials because your content resonates with a lot of people as well. And because you're funny. And my wife loves it. My wife loves your content before she loves mine. And this is a joke. She loved because it's Gilmore Girls and it was like ADHD and being an introvert. She's severe ADHD. So she's all over it. And like she will talk about you all the time. Yeah, that guy's about you all the time. Like, I love him. I'm like, I love him too, babe. So, like, you know, just to be able to talk to you, and especially when I give you the message about being on the podcast.
Yeah, man.
directly to her, and I was like, babe, we got to schedule this. She's like, you're dang right we do. Let's make it happen. So hey, dude, thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it. Anytime you need me to make time, and I'll make sure I'm on time next time. I'm sorry.
Oh no, you good, bro. You good.
Hey, all right, I apologize.
No, listen, man. It all worked out, man. And I appreciate you. What you said was that was very kind, and that means more than you will ever possibly know. So, friends, if you're listening or watching right now and be like, "Hey, I like this guy. This guy's pretty cool," I'm going to include all of his links in the description of this podcast, so you're able to just click. Give him a follow. I think you need some followers. I think he needs a couple more followers.
Just a
little bit. Give him a follow. You're not going to regret it, my friends. The Professor, Nick Harrison, thank you so much for being here. Everybody else that's watching and listening, much love, good vibes, and I will talk to you later. Bye.